Hey, I'm Lyra. Welcome to the Betrayal Diaries, the place for unforgettable stories. Hit subscribe if you're ready. Let's begin. Hey everyone, Milan here. Before we get into today's story, I need you to hear this. My parents handed over the keys to my house to my sister last Tuesday. They told her to start packing her things and get ready to move in. They planned a whole family dinner to celebrate her new home. There was just one tiny problem. The house they gave away, it's legally mine. And they were about to find out exactly what that means. I'm 31 years old and I work as a financial analyst for a tech startup. I make around $165,000 a year and I've been completely financially independent since I was 22. I bought my house when I was 26. It's a beautiful 2-story colonial in Raleigh, North Carolina. 4 bedrooms, renovated kitchen, a backyard I spent 2 summers landscaping myself. I paid $310,000 for it back then, and I've put another $45,000 into improvements. My name is on that deed, just mine, nobody else. But my parents have this funny way of rewriting history when it benefits my younger sister, Vanessa. It was a Thursday afternoon when my phone started blowing up. Text after text in the family group chat. Congratulations, Vanessa. So happy for you. What a blessing. This is perfect timing. I had no idea what they were talking about. Then Vanessa sent a photo. It was my house. My actual house. She was standing on my front porch holding a bottle of champagne with this huge smile on her face. The caption said, "Can't believe this is finally mine. Dreams really do come true. Thanks, Mom and Dad." My heart just stopped. I called my mom immediately. She answered all cheerful and light like nothing was wrong. "Oh, Anna, isn't it wonderful? Your sister is so excited." "Mom, what are you talking about?" "The house. We're giving Vanessa the house. She needs it more than you do. You're single and you travel for work all the time. Vanessa has Jake now and they're planning to get married. They need space to build their life together." I had to pull my car over because my hands were shaking. "Mom, that's my house. I own it." She laughed. "Oh, honey, stop being dramatic. That house has always been a family investment. Your father and I helped you get it, so it's really ours to decide what happens with it. I felt like I was losing my mind. You didn't help me buy it. I saved every single penny myself. You never gave me money for that house. Well, we gave you money over the years for birthdays and holidays. That's the same thing." It absolutely was not the same thing. Every birthday check for $50 or $100 that my parents gave me did not add up to a $62,000 down payment that I scraped together through years of budgeting and side freelancing gigs. But my mom wasn't hearing it. "Vanessa needs this, Anna. Stop being selfish. Jake's apartment lease is up next month and they can't afford anything nice. You can easily find another place. You make plenty of money." Then she hung up on me. I sat there in my car for probably 20 minutes just trying to process what was happening. My sister was literally planning to move into my house. My parents were acting like they had the authority to give it to her, and I was being called selfish for objecting to having my own property stolen from me. I called my real estate attorney, Monica Hernandez. Monica had handled my home purchase and refinancing. She answered right away, and I could barely get the words out. "Monica, my family is trying to give my house to my sister. They're acting like they own it. Can they do that?" Monica was quiet for exactly 3 seconds. Then she said, "Anna, do you have your deed handy?" "Yes, it's in my safe at home. Is anyone else's name on that deed besides yours?" "No, just mine." "Then no, they absolutely cannot give your house to anyone. That's not legally possible. Do you need me to send you a certified copy of your deed and ownership documents?" "Yes, please." And Monica, my sister, posted on social media that the house is hers now. My parents are backing her up. This is going to get ugly. I'm sending everything within the hour. And Anna, if they try to enter that property without your permission, call the police immediately. That's trespassing. I drove straight home. When I pulled into my driveway, my sister's car was already there. She and my mom were on my porch trying keys in my front door lock. I parked and got out. "What are you doing?" Vanessa turned around, startled. "Oh, Anna. Hi. Mom said you'd probably be at work. We're just checking to see what furniture will fit. We're measuring the rooms." "With what keys?" Mom held up a keychain. "The spare you gave me 3 years ago when you went to that conference in Seattle. I had asked my mom to water my plants that week. I'd forgotten she still had that key. You need to leave. Both of you. Now." "Anna, don't start," Vanessa said. "This is happening whether you like it or not," Mom and Dad decided. Vanessa, I bought this house. My name is on the deed. You have no legal right to be here. Mom stepped forward with that look she gets when she's about to lecture me. We raised you better than this, Anna. Family takes care of family. Your sister needs help and you have more than enough. The selfish gene must have skipped Vanessa because I don't see it in her. That comment made something snap inside me. I pulled out my phone and opened my email. Monica had already sent the documents. I pulled up the deed and held it out. See this? This is the legal deed to this property. It has one name on it. Mine. Not yours. Not Dad's. Not Vanessa's. Mine. Nobody else has any claim to this house whatsoever. Vanessa's face fell. But Mom said you didn't really buy it yourself. That Dad co-signed or something. Dad didn't co-sign anything. I have the mortgage documents. I have 5 years of payment records. I have the title insurance. I own this house completely and entirely by myself. Mom's expression shifted from annoyed to angry. So what are you saying? That you won't help your sister? That you're going to hoard this big house all to yourself while she struggles? I'm saying this is my property, and she cannot have it. If Vanessa needs housing, she and Jake need to find their own place like every other adult couple does. You're being incredibly selfish right now, Mom said. Her voice had that sharp edge that used to make me back down when I was younger. This time I didn't flinch. I'm being accurate. There's a difference. Please leave my property. Vanessa started crying, those loud, dramatic sobs she's been using to get her way since we were kids. I can't believe you're doing this, Anna. I already told Jake we had a house. I posted about it. Everyone knows. Now I'm going to look like an idiot. You shouldn't have posted about a house you don't own. That's not my problem. Mom put her arm around Vanessa. Fine. We're leaving. But your father is going to hear about this and he is not going to be happy. Tell Dad whatever you want. Just leave. They left, but Vanessa made sure to slam my gate hard enough that it bounced back open. I went inside and immediately called a locksmith. Every lock on my house was changed within 4 hours. I also installed a Ring doorbell and 2 security cameras covering my front and back entrances. Monica told me to document everything, every text, every call, every conversation, so that's exactly what I did. That evening my dad called. His voice was cold. Your mother tells me you're refusing to help your sister. That's not what happened, Dad. I'm refusing to give Vanessa my house that I own. Same thing. No, it's actually completely different. Dad, I bought this house with my own money. You and Mom never contributed anything to it. Your mother seems to remember differently. Then her memory is wrong. I have bank statements proving every single deposit I made toward that down payment came from my paychecks. I have the mortgage in my name alone. I have the deed in my name alone. This is not a family asset. It's mine. There was a long pause. Then he said, You've always had this attitude, Anna. Ever since you got that fancy job, you've thought you're better than the rest of us. This has nothing to do with my job. This has to do with property rights. Vanessa needs help and you're refusing. If she needs help, you and Mom can help her. You're her parents. I'm not responsible for housing my adult sister and her boyfriend. Ex-boyfriend, actually. Vanessa and Jake had broken up twice in the last year, but my parents conveniently forgot that part whenever they were describing their perfect relationship. Your mother and I don't have the resources you do, Dad said. We're on fixed retirement income. You make 6 figures. So because I worked hard and built a career, I'm now obligated to give away my assets? That's not how the world works, Dad. It's how family works. Not in any healthy family I've ever heard of. He hung up on me too. Over the next 3 days, I got 41 calls from various relatives. My Aunt Marie called me ungrateful. My Uncle Tom said I was being cruel to Vanessa during a vulnerable time in her life. My cousin David sent me a long text about how disappointed Grandma would be if she were still alive. Nobody wanted to hear my side. Nobody asked for proof of ownership. They just assumed my parents were telling the truth and I was being difficult. Then Vanessa started her social media campaign. She posted a long emotional statement on Instagram and Facebook about how her family was falling apart. She said she'd been promised a home by her parents, but her older sister was blocking it out of spite. She said I'd always been jealous of her, and this was my way of keeping her down. She posted old photos of us as kids with captions about how we used to be close before I changed. The posts got hundreds of comments. Friends from high school calling me heartless. People I hadn't spoken to in years telling me I should be ashamed. Distant relatives piling on about family loyalty. I screenshot everything and sent it to Monica. This is defamation, Monica said. She's making false statements that are damaging your reputation. We can send a cease and desist letter. Do it. The letter went out certified mail. Vanessa called me 29 times in 2 hours after she received it. I didn't answer. Then she sent me a text. You sent me legal threats? Your own sister? I'm pregnant, Anna. I'm 4 months pregnant, and you're stressing me out so much I can barely eat. How do you sleep at night? That pregnancy announcement was news to me, and I suspected it was news to everyone else too because she hadn't mentioned it in any of her social media posts. It felt like a strategic card she was playing to gain sympathy. I didn't respond. Monica advised me not to engage directly. 2 weeks later, I came home from a work trip to find my back door had been forced open. The frame was splintered. When I walked inside, I found Vanessa and Jake in my living room unpacking boxes. I stood there in complete shock. "What are you doing?" Vanessa looked up calm as anything. "We're moving in. Mom and Dad said we could. This is my house. You broke into my house. We didn't break in. The door was unlocked. The door was locked, and now it's damaged. You forced it open. That's breaking and entering." Jake stood up. He was a big guy, around 6'3", and he used his size to try to intimidate me. "Listen, Anna, Vanessa needs a stable place for the baby. You're being unreasonable about this. We're moving in, and that's final. You can stay in one of the bedrooms or you can leave. Either way, we're not going anywhere." I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. Vanessa's eyes went wide. "What are you doing?" "Calling the police. You've broken into my home." Jake stepped toward me. "You're not seriously calling the cops on your pregnant sister. Watch me." The dispatcher answered, and I explained the situation calmly. "2 individuals have broken into my home and are refusing to leave. I'm the sole owner of this property. I have documentation. I need officers here immediately." I gave my address. Vanessa started crying again. "Anna, please don't do this. You're going to have me arrested while I'm pregnant? You broke into my house. What did you think would happen?" The police arrived in 6 minutes, 2 officers. I showed them my ID, my deed, my mortgage statements, my property tax records. Everything matched. Everything was in my name. The officers went inside and found Vanessa and Jake surrounded by boxes and furniture. Officer Rodriguez came back out. "Ma'am, do these individuals have any legal right to be in your home? Rental agreement, lease, permission from you? None whatsoever. I've asked them to leave multiple times. They've refused and broken my back door to gain entry." Both Vanessa and Jake were arrested. She sobbed through the entire process, making sure the neighbors saw. Jake kept yelling that I was going to regret this, that his family would make sure everyone knew what kind of person I was. My parents arrived just as the police car was pulling away with Vanessa inside. My mother's face was pure rage. She marched up to me screaming, "You had your pregnant sister arrested? What is wrong with you? She committed a crime, Mom. She broke into my house. This is your fault, Anna. All of this. You could have just been kind and shared what you have. Instead, you've destroyed this family." Dad didn't say anything. He just stared at me with this look of complete disgust and then turned and walked away. Mom followed him. The officers helped me document everything for the report. The broken door, the boxes they'd brought in, the fact that they'd clearly been planning to stay. I called a contractor that night to repair the door and upgrade my security system. Monica filed for a restraining order first thing Monday morning. The judge granted it immediately based on the break-in and arrest. My parents, Vanessa and Jake, all had to stay at least 300 feet away from me or my property. The fallout was nuclear. Vanessa's arrest made it into the local news. Small-town drama travels fast. Her employer found out. She worked as a receptionist at a dental office and they let her go. Their policy was clear about employees with pending criminal charges. Without her income and with legal fees piling up, she and Jake couldn't afford their apartment anymore. They moved in with my parents. My parents live in a small ranch house, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. It was cramped and uncomfortable for 4 adults, and the tension was apparently unbearable. The criminal case moved forward. Vanessa's public defender tried to get her a plea deal, but Monica and I wouldn't agree unless it included full restitution for my damaged property, a public retraction of all her defamatory posts, and a permanent agreement to stay away from me. Vanessa refused. She still believed she was the victim in this situation. The trial happened 5 months later. It lasted 1 day. The evidence was overwhelming. My ownership documents, the police report, photos of the damaged door, screenshots of her social media posts showing premeditation. Vanessa was convicted of breaking and entering and criminal trespassing. The judge sentenced her to 1 year probation, 250 hours of community service, and ordered her to pay $8,400 in restitution, covering my door repair, security upgrades, and legal fees. She also had to post a public retraction, which she did on Instagram. It got 22 likes. Most people never saw it because by then, everyone had moved on to the next drama. Jake left her 2 months after the trial. Turns out the pregnancy wasn't real. She'd lied about it to gain sympathy, and he was furious when he found out. He moved back to Virginia, where his family lives. Vanessa is still living with my parents. She works part-time at a grocery store. My parents blame me for everything. According to family members who still speak to both sides, my dad says I ruined Vanessa's life over pride. My mom tells people I chose a house over my sister. The extended family split down the middle. Half sided with my parents. They stopped speaking to me entirely. The other half quietly reached out to say they understood why I did what I did, but they couldn't say so publicly without causing more family conflict. A small group, mostly younger cousins who'd experienced similar scapegoating, openly supported me. My cousin Rachel told me she'd watched my parents favor Vanessa our entire lives, and she was proud of me for finally standing up for myself. I haven't spoken to my parents or Vanessa in 18 months now. The restraining order is still active. I renewed it when it came up for review. My house is peaceful. I've repainted the living room. I turned the smallest bedroom into a home office with custom built-in shelving. I adopted a dog, a golden retriever named Cooper, who's the best security system and companion I could ask for. I got another promotion at work. I'm now making $182,000 a year, and I'm being considered for a director position. I started dating someone I met through a friend. His name is Marcus, and he's a high school history teacher. When I told him this whole story on our third date, he just looked at me and said, "So you have boundaries and you enforce them. That's incredibly attractive." We've been together for 7 months now, and he's the healthiest relationship I've ever had. People ask me sometimes if I feel guilty, if I regret how everything played out, if I wish I'd handled it differently. The answer is no, not even a little bit. My family didn't make a mistake or have a misunderstanding. They made a deliberate choice to try to take something that belonged to me because they've spent my entire life believing that Vanessa's wants matter more than my rights. When I said no, they escalated to crime. Every step of the way, they chose entitlement over respect. I didn't ruin Vanessa's life. She ruined her own life by breaking into my house and refusing to accept reality. My parents enabled that behavior, and now they're living with the consequences. I spent 29 years being the responsible one, the one who didn't need help, the one who was expected to sacrifice so Vanessa could have whatever she wanted. I was taught that my role was to give, and her role was to receive. That my achievements were expected and her mediocrity was celebrated. Breaking free from that cost me relationships with most of my family, but those relationships were built on my exploitation. They only worked when I accepted less, gave more, and stayed quiet about the unfairness. I don't miss them. I miss the idea of what I wished they could be. Parents who were proud of both daughters equally. A sister who celebrated my success instead of envying it. A family where love wasn't conditional on self-erasure. But I don't miss who they actually are. My house has appreciated significantly. It's worth about $495,000 now. I've built my savings to over $180,000. I have a career I love and I'm good at. I have friends who respect me. I have a relationship built on mutual care instead of obligatory sacrifice. And I have something my family can never touch: self-respect, peace, the knowledge that I stood up for myself when it mattered most. Last month, my cousin Stephanie reached out. She'd been one of the relatives who criticized me when this first happened. Her parents had just demanded she loan her brother $15,000 for a business idea. When she said no, they called her selfish and threatened to cut her out of the will. "I owe you an apology," she wrote. "I thought you were cold. Now I'm living it and I understand. You were just the first one brave enough to say no." We met for coffee. I shared everything I've learned in therapy about boundaries, about enmeshment, about family systems that require a scapegoat. I told her she doesn't owe her family access to her bank account any more than I owed mine access to my house. She's starting therapy next week. She said I inspired her. That means more to me than my family's approval ever did. Here's what I know now. When toxic people force you to choose between your well-being and their approval, choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. It's healthy. It's the only choice that leads to actual peace instead of resentful obligation. Some people will call you cruel for having boundaries. Those are usually the people who benefited from you having none. Let them be upset. Their feelings about your boundaries are not your responsibility to manage. I chose myself. I'd make the same choice 1,000 times over, and I'd tell anyone in a similar situation to do exactly the same thing. My house is mine. My life is mine. My peace is mine. And no one, not parents, not siblings, not misplaced obligation, not guilt trips, will ever take those from me again. That's my story. That's my truth. And I'm finally free.